Slug just can't stop himself. What's good, everybody? My name is Valor, and welcome back to Valtech Army, and welcome to Bolt Action Week, because I have 4 different hobby-made blasters that are all bolt action, and I decided to make a whole week out of it, and just make it a lot more special because of that fact. And today, we're taking a look at the Indra by Captain Slug. It is essentially a bolt-action Caliburn with a lot of the same upgrades and options as the Caliburn because it uses a lot of the same parts. And yes, this is a very svelte little package if you like the bolt-action priming mechanism. But that is a bit to its detriment because it is so compact that it can be a bit short if you're someone tall like me. Though in typical Captain Slug blaster fashion, the hobby has already sort of addressed this and made extended stocks and all that for this blaster. I left this one sort of in its semi-stock configuration just because I want to get a feel for what the base blaster is like before I go on to build a personal one for myself. This one was a commission build for a lovely patron named Homely, and I just want to be sure to get a nice video of it before I send it off to him so he can kind of get a feel for what he has coming to him in terms of the blaster. Starting up at the front, I went with the longest barrel option. I think this is the 18-inch barrel for this blaster, so it is quite good in terms of performance, and it is quite consistent. You'll notice that I don't have 3 sections of these rails because I wanted a slightly shorter sort of front end so more barrel sticks out to give it more of a snipery feel. Having too much shroud can, take away from that sort of look. And if you're wondering what adapter I'm using in this blaster, it is the Silly Butts passive magwell adapter for the Indra. All you need to do is swap out the parts from the stock ones, and there you go. You have the passive magwell, which is inspired by the Caliburn passive magwell that Slug himself created. That way you can just simply take out one pin, or one screw in this case, remove the adapter, and then you have your full-size magwell again. It does make your darts go all the way to the back of the magwell, which can be a little bit iffy depending on the dart type and the mags you're using and stuff, but I personally haven't had too many issues firing from this configuration, and I went with the sort of straight bolt handle rather than that big angled one that is standard for these blasters. I think it just gives a better look. It makes it easier to store because it's a little bit closer to the side of the blaster, and it is much more comfortable, at least for me, compared to the original. Now, if you notice there, while I was priming, there's like 2 little notches. There's like that first little one there where it has a little bit of a stop. You have to make sure you really prime this thing all the way back for it to catch. Otherwise, you're gonna end up like double loading or whatever, and you're gonna be wasting darts. Powering this blaster is a K25 spring, gives it a nice level of performance, and it is not too heavy on the prime weight, though it is still a decently heavy prime unless you're used to it. You have to be very definite whenever you pull. You don't want to hesitate or anything, otherwise you're going to end up short stroking it, and like I said before, you're going to end up double feeding or jamming. The grip on the Indra is of Captain Slug's newer style that started with the Hyper, the little hammer action single shot thing. And it is quite comfortable. And it allows me to do a lot of different options with sort of color separation and stuff with the grip itself versus the body, the trigger guard, and all that. And this is quite comfortable, though the top bar here, the trigger bar, does tend to ride on the top of your thumb there. So if you're pulling, you might end up causing the trigger not to return, or you might end up chafing your thumb and everything. But luckily that has been fixed by Silly Butts again with another little addition that covers that up and stuff, and also makes it a lot smoother. But yeah, let's go outside and let's get back out to the target range. It's time to see if we can hit the box. About 60 feet away like usual, and yeah. Mag number 2. This one should feed a little better. Let's take that scar off, actually. See if we do any better. definitely a bit more whip on the tail of the dart. And yeah, we're out. Okay. Yeah, definitely need to find a scar that works better for this, because the SBL scar definitely isn't doing it. Also, there's a bit of barrel wobble. Oh yeah, definitely a case for wanting, you know, fresh darts, and also to get a scar for this that sort of matches the level of output this thing gives. I did try the SBL scar on there just to see how it would do. It did okay, but I think a lot of the issues I was having was due to the worn and soft darts, because some were laying out in the sun, some were just down here, you know, constantly being reused in testing. But overall, it is still quite nice. One thing I did notice while I was firing is I did have a little bit of barrel wobble from side to side that I ended up fixing by tightening these screws up here, these top and bottom here. There is a second slot for a nut here for the threaded rod in the top to slot into, but I'm not sure if that would fix things entirely. So definitely something to look into. I might end up putting a plastic thread locker in those holes just to make sure it doesn't come loose again, because this thing was sitting for a good month or so before I started using it again for the video. And now that I've built one of these for someone else and learned the sort of the secrets of it, learned how it behaves and all that, I am actually kind of optimistic to build one for myself. I definitely want to build one with a more rigid barrel shroud and everything. Definitely extend the stock out, because this is a little bit too short for me, because it's ideally, and I learned this from Ed Scar, like an easy way to tell if a stock is going to be about the right length for you is at a right angle with your arm. Does the stock touch your bicep? And this one is about halfway, or maybe 2/3 to my bicep, so it is quite small, which for certain blasters, I don't mind as much for something like a CQB thing, but this is more of a long, a long-range field blaster, so you do want it to be a bit more, slightly further out, and also because that bolt has such a long travel, you do want it to be a little further out from your body. But I'm rambling again. Funny how that happens when I get to talking about blasters and something I'm passionate about. I'd like to thank you for sticking around and watching till the end, and yeah, big thanks to the patrons that are scrolling on the screen right here. Starting at $1 a month, you can help the channel out, get access to the Patreon-only Discord server, get access to sneak peeks and files I've made for certain blasters, and you'll get to help me decide what I do videos on next. And again, thanks for watching, liking, sharing, subscribing, all that good stuff, ringing the little bell, you know what to do. But yeah, my name is Valor, thanks for watching. And that is day one of Valtech Armory's Bolt Action Week in the bag. Let me know, again, what you think of the Indra down in the comments below, and let me know what parts you think I should use in the future if I ever build one for myself, because there are a few parts I know I want to use, but are there any parts I may have missed or anything, or that might have just come out? Be sure to let me know in the comments below. I'm thinking about doing a sort of compilation video at the end of all this with all 4 videos in one, sort of Bolt Action Week, the movie, as it were. Just as a way to have all of them in one for those who want to watch all 4 blasters in one go, for those who like watching long-form videos. But, yeah, tomorrow is going to be a nice little day of filming for me, and, you know, expect the next video on the 6th, because I have a very nice little blaster that came out right after the Indra came out, actually. And I might get a little fun with it. We'll see.